So we were supposed to have someone from Telenor and also from a mobile internet company, but they both couldn't make it due to sickness. So now we have two challengers talking to each other, and we still try to make it challenging. So sorry for all the cynical remarks, but let me ask you one question. When mobile internet comes to your mind, why do you think it took so long, or it is taking so long to take off? And I know it's a complicated question, because when you look at Skype already accounting for over 10% of the global calling volume, it's different versus advertising, etc. But do you think we are now at the point where mobile internet is going to make a difference?
First of all, thanks. Nice to be here. Probably not a bad idea to let everybody know what Rebtel is, because I'm assuming that not all of you know. We're the world's second largest mobile VoIP company, providing international calling, international SMS at very affordable rates, sort of typically 40% cheaper than Skype. And the business is on course to do $40 million revenue, 120% up from last year. Traditionally, the difficulty with IP-based telephony, especially on mobile, has been that it's been for the few people who really, really do want to save money. But through applications, so something for all of you who travel and call internationally, download Rebtel on your iPhone or on your Android, flip a switch, and every call you do will be 90% cheaper. So, enough of the plug. Will the internet on the mobile device matter? I think it's almost a redundant question. It does matter. There are 4.6 billion mobile devices. There are 500 million broadband connections. And the growth of mobile is outstripping about 5 to 1. India and China have 1 billion devices, and the premium way of being able to access the internet is through your mobile device. Why has it taken time? I think the devices and the speed of the networks is the big thing there. I think last couple of years, things have started to speed up, and I think Eric Schmidt said at Disrupt that by 2014, end of 2014, search on the mobile device will be bigger than PC. So I think we're there, and it's just going to take off from here.
Yeah, just a couple of words. I think everyone predicted the mobile internet will be big, but it's, I think, behavior and the devices which were the two things which were in the way. And I think we needed to adapt our behavior. And I think this is still an ongoing process. I think on some of the devices, that's still very hard to do. We needed to change in a way how we interacted with some of the operator layers, etc. So on a company, we saw this equally to Rebtel very early, that there was an opportunity when the first Wi-Fi connected devices came out to push voice over IP, mobile voice over IP, and this is what Truphone has been standing for applications, innovative applications on many devices, Androids, iPhone, BlackBerry, Nokia devices. But the company saw VoIP as one aspect, but there was a second aspect, which was a global roaming challenge. And I'll just give you an overview. Last year, my CEO was here, Geraldine, but it's really the fall of the Roman Empire, which we're looking at. The global roaming market is very, very big, and it's very, very painful. So roaming hurts. Had enough yet, so you have to find a solution to make a call somewhere around the world, and you want to actually have it not only in voice but also in data. So we thought the behavior is not changing quick enough, and if you look at the Skype behavior, there's only 8 million people paying out of 125 million active customers. That's still relatively small if you consider there are 1 billion people on the top 10 networks. So, and they make about 1 trillion turnover. So here, there, and everywhere, if you go and actually build a global MVNO, one network, one MVNO, and one brand, then no matter if that's VoIP or SIM card, it doesn't matter.
May I ask one question to come in here? Who are you competing with? mentioned Skype both in your discussions. Are your competitors more the other challengers, like the Skypes of the world? Or are your competitors more the incumbents? And I think it's different, because Rebtel, you're pretty much independent, and the Truphone model is also a bit about co-competing together with the carriers. Is that right?
I'd just say we're competing for the attention of the customer, and the customer wants to do one thing. He wants to make a phone call, and that's pretty much it. I mean, customer attention, and I think the customer can now have new orientation. They can find new ways to provide that service. If it's via an application, via a dial-in number, via a callback number, different solutions have different levels of difficulty. And therefore the adoption curve is low or high. But what we all do, we land, we switch on the phone, we make a phone call, receive email, and that hurts. And we're trying to adopt a solution or bring a solution to the customer on many, many layers. And I think the network layer is separating from the customer layer, and I think that's what we're trying to address with Truphone on a global scale by signing up multiple MVNO countries. We are today in the US and the UK and Australia. There's another 7 countries coming. Total rollout plan is so far to 24 countries in the world, and we're going with the largest countries in the world with the biggest roaming impact, and we're signing operator agreements, but at the same time we're pushing our voice over IP solution as an application. So you have a choice as a customer. You want to make a call from a desktop, you want to make a call from a SIM card. I mean, you had to bond to somebody.
I mean, I'd take it sort of one step further. I think that most markets become perfect over time. There's always an arbitrage. The telephone, or the international telephony, or the local telephony market, or the roaming market is old, and it's ridiculously highly priced. These organizations, as you said, are worth $1 trillion. We buy 1 billion minutes. We sell them at a 30% markup, but we sell them at 1/10 of the price that the local operators do. So they make 3,000% on every single minute. And if you look at the European Commission, they're looking at trying to regulate this. The Americans are doing the same thing. I think at the moment, the devices and the tie-ins that have been provided by operators and device manufacturers haven't allowed the user to be totally free of what they can do. And that's changing, and that $1 trillion industry is going to become very, very different. I'd be surprised if in 15 years' time, Vodafone and Verizon are the organizations that actually own the relationships on a telephone level. It's going to be the service provider who provides something that you want, when you want it, how you want it. And that, agreed, it's going to be on PC, it's going to be on a mobile device, it's going to be on a tablet, whatever. The arbitrage that's in this market is ridiculous, and it's only now in the last 5 years that it's being addressed.
So telephony will get cheaper, that's good news. How is it looking with browsing, so using the internet? There's a debate, the public debate, that the apps in the Apple stores, in the Google stores are not going to be sustainable, that people are eventually going to switch to a browser concept like we know it from the desktop internet access. What's your view on that?
I mean, the mobile device is a full access device, so there's no more difference between mobile and the pure internet. And I think often if you build companies, you build them first for the mobile device and then probably for the internet. I think the internet is going to start shrinking from a certain point onwards. I don't know where this inflection point will happen, but we will have, I think in 2011, more mobile devices, 1.1 billion on the planet, internet connected, and I think this will make an impact. And in terms of the operator, this is a challenge. I call this a smartphone challenge. This has an impact on revenues, and we see this now, 5 to 8% year-on-year decline in voice revenue. And you have to think, what is your solution? You're turning into a data pipe. So what is the next business you're going to jump on? And, well.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of discussions about tablets and mobile devices actually taking up so much bandwidth that O2 in London can't cover what they've got. I mean, this is an infrastructure problem, but and something that the operators are going to need to address. But at present, the prices that are being offered for data are often bundled, and if they are in one level in the UK, they're on a totally different level if you actually roam with your product. This needs to be addressed. There shouldn't be a difference between the different data usage here or abroad. The problem at the moment is that this is a fantastic revenue opportunity for operators. Voice revenues are going down. Data is a great way to make money.
Talking about higher monetization, I'm astonished to what extent, like especially gaming companies are paying SMS payment fees to carriers, which I believe there's a company called Habbo which has this online community for teenagers, and they're I think paying 30 or 40% of revenues they used to pay for SMS payment, which seems to be exorbitant. Is that a segment which you see potentially to be regulated?
Well, I think there's going to be lots of different movements in mobile payments. I mean, one way of doing it is by putting it onto your operator bill. And as you said, is a 30-40% margin. That does not seem to be something that's going to be sustainable when Visa are taking 1.8%. So there's going to be technological advancements. I mean, there are organizations that are doing near-field sort of communication where you just swipe your phone against something, a little bit like you might do in a ski lift. And it takes a certain amount of money from your card. Visa are testing this with iPhone. So I think there are going to be advantages in that. But I mean, mobile payments in the third world are hugely important. There's no reason why we shouldn't be able to use mobile payments as a mobile wallet rather than carrying around your wallet. So I think it's just, again, it's a case of at the moment, there's an operator way of doing it. It seems to be working. People are willing to pay a 30% extra on a $1 purchase. But long term, that's not going to be sustainable. It needs to come down to sort of the 1.8 to 2.5 price box, which is on digital or on offline as well.
Yeah, if you look at services, I mean, we all admired, I think 10 years ago, iMode services in Japan, which were fully integrated, a central server. They recognized when you went into the subway, and the next morning when the train was late, it gave you a message. This has not happened yet in Europe, and I think we have seen the start of it with the Apple and the Android app stores, but they're not fully integrated. I think there's a long way to go with mobile applications and services as such, and I think Google and Android necessarily cannot be the only answer because they are somehow limiting the operator to have a certain scope. So the operator will have to find a way. And one of these things is, I think, in payment we only have scratched the surface. The mobile applications people have bought, which I think in sum is about a $5 billion market these days, is tiny compared to what could be paid for with a mobile phone, which mean your daily consumptions. And I think to address those, companies will arrive which actually have solutions. But this is very complicated. This has to do with banking, with regulation, with fraud detection. And I think the answer can somehow not come from the existing internet players, but it cannot come from the bank either. So it needs to be a new solution needs to be created. And mobile banking is a very, very large subject area to be addressed. And this needs to be still happening on a country-by-country level. In Europe, we have the BaFin, and you have to comply with certain regulations if you actually transfer money and etc., provide credit cards or near-field payment solutions.
Okay, well, mobile internet is a big space because it's a parallel economy. It's going to be as big as desktop, if not bigger, at least from a device perspective. And I'm sure we're going to give it a lot more time at NOAH 2011. Thank you very much for your time.